Good morning and welcome to Mornings with Luann and Tim, Monday morning, and you can see we're ready for Halloween.
Halloween week.
This is me without makeup on. This is Tim always.
At least I'm skinny.
Yeah. Ouch.
In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, right?
Okay.
And then on this date, he sighted Cuba. And
Really?
He claimed it for Spain and called it Juana.
Juana?
Do you want to go to Cuba? Juana. Juana? How would you say that?
Juana.
Juana.
Juana?
I thought that sounds like bat poop. Oh, that's guana.
I don't know about that poop.
Well, you
Myself?
should. It's Halloween.
Yes. I don't know. I didn't know it was called
Guana
guana.
is bat poop.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure of it. Anyway, yes, so Columbus saw Cuba and claimed it for Spain. Now who owns it? Nobody. Cuba owns themselves, don't they?
Yes, they do.
What did I just hear about? Oh, Donald Trump's not happy about Cuba, and what are they doing? There's no flights to Cuba except to Havana. That's new.
Oh, I didn't read that yet.
Yeah, I did. I read that. No more flights. He's stopping all flights to Cuba except to Havana.
I didn't know there were any going. So
Yeah, because you know what? Cuban Americans can go home.
Ah.
To visit family, and that's why this time of the year it's a real drag for them, because if they want to go home for Christmas to visit, they can only fly to Havana now.
Yeah. Speaking of Mr. Trump,
Oh boy.
what a weekend he had, right? Confirming that they have killed Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who was the leader of ISIS and was treacherous. He filmed beheadings. He shot people in the head and then put them all in mass graves. And so, yeah, apparently it was quite the endeavor. 8 helicopters came in and just blew a hole in the compound wall because it was like a fortress. And it took about 2.5 hours for them to start and finish the whole thing. And he tried to escape through a tunnel under his compound and was wearing a suicide vest and came to a dead end apparently in the tunnel and had 3 of his children with him.
Were they his children? I didn't get that they were his. I just thought they were children. Okay,
yeah,
so they were his own children.
Young children. And he blew himself up. Mm-hmm. And interestingly, because your first thought, or maybe your second thought is, like, was it really him? But they had an expert forensics person with them on this mission who took a test. I mean, you can imagine there wasn't a lot left to test, but they tested and 15 minutes later confirmed that it was him. Imagine that.
Here's what I don't get. So then Cuba, not Cuba, Trump makes his statement.
Announcement.
Well, it was an awful announcement. It was horrible.
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi.
And then he goes on to describe how it all happened.
It was very graphic.
It was just a bizarre. It was so undignified.
It was very undignified. And then he proceeded to, while he was talking to reporters,
he thanked Russia first.
Yeah. And
then he thanked Syria, and then he thanked Turkey. He thanked the U.S. troops last, I think. Mm-hmm. That's what I understand.
But then
Russia said, we don't know what he's talking about. I don't understand what's going on in this world.
No, apparently he doesn't either.
No, I guess.
But apparently he really thinks he's a great author, because while he was making this
12-minute speech.
Important announcement, because really that's huge. That's huge news. He has 12 books, and if they would have just listened to me a year before, 9/11 wouldn't have happened. I predicted it, but nobody would listen to me.
If they listened to me, they would have killed bin Laden sooner.
I've written books, and I've written 12 of them, and they're all good, big books.
And he's taking a lot of responsibility for this mission, although he was on the golf course at the time. He was golfing on his golf course.
He got in at 5 p.m.
when it was pretty much finished. And then they posed in the war room for that picture. Then have you seen the real photo of when they were bringing bin Laden down and Obama was in the White House?
Yes.
And the actual pose in the war room, the difference between the two, the staged one and the real one from
Hillary Clinton was just like,
yeah. And the other thing was that Trump is saying, taking a lot of credit for this, saying this is more important than Bin Laden. This is even bigger, and Bin Laden only became famous because of 9/11.
Because of 9/11, yeah.
And so there's an old message, I think it's a tweet again, of him saying, people need to stop congratulating Barack Obama. He didn't do it. Our armed forces did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When I saw him on CNN, I actually did hear him talk about how these expert soldiers did this phenomenal job. And he said watching them do it
So
step by step was just, he said, I've never seen anything like it. He said, I actually felt like I was watching a movie.
Wow.
But he talked about how al-Baghdadi was in the tunnel and whimpering and crying and screaming.
To the very end.
And he died like a coward, like a dog.
Like a dog. Oh my goodness.
With his 3 children. And 2 of his wives apparently had explosive vests on, but they didn't detonate.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they had them in captivity then?
No, I think they killed them.
Oh.
If I'm understanding correctly.
Was there ever a count of how many people died in that raid?
Not yet. I haven't read anything yet about that.
Oh boy, oh boy.
What a big, big thing though. That's huge. But like all the analysts and the pundits yesterday were all saying, you know what though? It's a tarantula.
There's so many waiting in line.
There's somebody already, who's going to take over, and there's different facets of it, and
you can't stamp out terrorism just by eliminating one leader.
No, that's right.
Did you know that Jane Fonda had moved to Washington D.C.?
No.
She actually picked up. What is she now? 83. She picked up and moved to Washington D.C. because Frankie and Grace and Frankie's over now. Her series,
it?
Her Netflix series.
Yes.
Or whatever it was.
Done for good or done for
I believe that they finished for good now. They've wrapped it up. So now she's focusing on climate change. So she's relocated, moved herself to Washington so she can be there to protest and to make climate change her focus.
Okay.
And to that end, she has now been arrested 3 times on the steps of the Capitol.
Really?
Yes. Zip-tied her hands. For the first one, they zip-tied her hands behind her back and put her in a paddy wagon. Second time, she was joined by her friend Sam Waterston, who co-starred with her in Grace and Frankie. This time around, I forget who was with her the 3rd time, but she's had a lot of celebrities are joining her on the steps of the Capitol to protest. And this last time, while she's being zip-tied, and she's smiling. This is her intent. She's there to make noise.
Yeah.
Here, look. Do you know what she's doing right here, Luann? As she's getting zip-tied, she's accepting the Stanley Kubrick Award for Excellence in Film. It's the British Association of Film and Television Awards, being held in Los Angeles. It's an annual celebration, the BAFTA Awards, and she was being honored with the Stanley Kubrick Award.
So that was her acceptance speech?
While she's getting hauled off, she was saying, sorry I can't be there to accept the award. I'm extremely honored, but as you can see, I'm being arrested.
Really?
Yeah. It was
wow, how effective is that?
Yeah, the award was at the Beverly Hilton, and I think she recorded another video explaining why she couldn't be there.
Isn't that, man, she's playing it.
83 years old, right?
Right? Yeah. Holy cow. If I had her money, though, I'd look that awesome. Seriously.
Now, on yesterday, Sunday, I spent a lot of time just watching TV. I had a really relaxing day, and I watched Hitchcock. The story about when Alfred Hitchcock made Psycho. And Hitchcock was played by Anthony Hopkins, and his wife was played by
Helen Mirren.
Fantastic film. But it made me looking at I started doing a little bit of research on that shower scene.
Oh, yeah.
There's a film out, apparently, a documentary film called 7852. That's because it's all about that one shower scene, which they spent a week filming, and that was 1/3 of the entire shooting schedule for Psycho.
Really?
1 week spent, there's Janet Leigh in the shower there. 78 setups. That means they moved the cameras 78 times to get all the angles.
Freezing in there.
52 edits in a 30-second clip.
Wow.
And they used Hershey's chocolate as blood.
Oh, good idea. Thank you so much to KC Security for sponsoring the show. We certainly appreciate it.
Can I use Hershey's chocolate for blood during Halloween?
Yes.
So we all are sweet.
Only if I get some.
Okay, listen, on today's show, I had some friends in from the Algoma District School Board because October is and has been, we're almost done now, but this month of October has been Learning Disabilities Awareness Month.
Right.
So I brought in a couple of folks from the Algoma District School Board to talk about the initiatives that they have in place and what they do. In that regard. And then Bushplane Edie's coming in.
All right.
Big craft show this weekend at the Bushplane Museum. It's an annual show, and Edie's here to talk about that. Plus, Luann will have the news, so stay with us on this Monday morning on Mornings with Luann and Tim.
Since 1899, the Machine Shop has been a unique space for innovation and creativity. Once a leading pulp and paper company, the Machine Shop was built by Francis H. Clerg, which later became part of St. Mary's Paper in 1984. After the closure of St. Mary's Paper in 2011, the Machine Shop spent 4 years vacant. In 2015, the Machine Shop reopened their doors to the community for the first time. From weddings to galas to concerts and festivals, the one-of-a-kind venue has something for everyone. We are proud to work with the community and local nonprofits to host major events such as Festival of Trees, Pearls and Plaid, an evening at Hogwarts, and more. While you're here, wind down at the Mill Steakhouse and Wine Bar for a quiet dining experience, or watch a game and try a wood fire oven pizza and local draft at the Boiler Room. Don't forget to save room for house-made gelato and baked goods at the Gelato Mill. For more information on the Machine Shop events, history, and restaurants, visit machineshopinc.ca. 3 great places, 1 historic venue.
Welcome back to Mornings with Luann and Tim, and I am joined right now by Sarah Anich Mansfield. Nice to have you with us. Brent Valley. Sarah and Brent are both from the Algoma District School Board. Brent is the Superintendent of Education overseeing special education. And Sarah, you're rather new to the board. You previously worked for the LDAO, Learning Disabilities Association of Ontario, and now you are the Learning Disabilities Resource Facilitator for the ADSB.
Yes.
And they're joining us this morning because on October is Learning Disabilities Awareness Month. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Before we went to camera, I was talking a little bit about my growing up in the school system. I went to a Catholic school. I went to Sacred Heart here in Sault Ste. Marie. I remember that at one time at Sacred Heart, we actually had a classroom for children with hearing impairment, which was really progressive back then in the 1970s. We also had a separate classroom for it was mostly young ladies who I guess had some learning barriers to learning, and they did a lot of stuff like home ec and basic classes and very basic education. Things have changed so much over the years. So, which is a great thing. Brent, let's talk a little bit about your career in education. Started off as a teacher, worked as a principal, now a superintendent. What sort of changes and progresses have you seen over the years as far as education and working with people who have special needs in learning?
Well, I think the key thing, Tim, is that we know so much more now than we ever did, right? I mean, back when you and I were going to school, which unfortunately was a few years ago, we know that.
It's okay, well, we look good.
That's absolutely. we just didn't know, right?
Yeah.
There were lots of kids who were in our mainstream classrooms that were maybe struggling, that we didn't know that there was a learning difficulty in place.
Right.
And since we didn't know, there wasn't really a whole lot that was being done about it. So
Right. Some people might have thought you were saying just lazy, or
Not motivated.
not
motivated,
motivated,
yeah.
which was so not true.
Yeah.
We just didn't know.
And now that we know, I mean, research into learning and how the brain works and that has come so far.
Yes.
And this is particularly beneficial for our kids that are presenting with a learning disability, because kids with a learning disability are smart. These are really smart kids. We know that.
Yeah.
To have a diagnosis of a learning disability, you have to have average to above average intelligence. So we know these are smart kids who happen to have a brain-based difficulty that involves the way that they process information, how they take it in, how they get it out. And knowing that and having that information, there's a number of strategies that we can use and put in place to help those kids show their best and be successful. And I think that's how things have changed the most over the years, is that we recognize that there's a lot we can do to help support the learning for all kids instead of.
See, Sarah, I had said, I didn't have, there were no kids in our classroom that had special needs or learning disabilities. And you said, well, yeah, they were there, you just didn't know it.
They absolutely were there. Yeah.
So how do you deal with that then, as somebody who's worked with both families and educators on both sides, and the children themselves? How do you manage that in a classroom? How does a teacher work with that? What kinds of resources are available? And tell me, because you actually studied this. This is your special field.
So I think it's really important to do both formal and informal testing to kind of see where the student is at in terms of their education levels, and to see what kind of a learner the students are. So are they more of an auditory learner, visual learner, kinesthetic learner, procedural learner? Like, how do they take in information? How do they remember information? Once we have those pieces and we get to know, the students' interests, what motivates them, we can kind of put all those pieces together, and classroom teachers are able to use universal design for learning. So essentially making sure that their lessons and assignments are incorporating pieces for all students. So providing multiple entry points into a lesson and providing multiple entry points out of a lesson for students to
Entry points. That's so smart.
for students to show their genius and to show what they know. So
Lovely.
making sure that we have a varied ways in and out of the lesson.
Right.
Yeah.
I love the term you also used, exceptional learners. Yeah, that's a beautiful way of phrasing it. Now, as far as resources go in the classroom, Brent, you were talking about how everything that we use nowadays, the computers, the technology, what's the phrase you use, a term for it, isn't it?
Assistive technology.
Assistive technology. So for me, for instance, any given day, I might say, Siri, how do I pronounce this name? Or I need to know this, or how do I, whatever. That's me using the resources that are available. So you guys have managed to sort of harness that and find a way to use these. Can you give me an example?
Absolutely. So the most common types of assistive technology is speech-to-text technology, which is something that you were kind of talking about, where you you can speak into a phone, tablet, computer, and it types for you.
It does. I do that too.
That helps our learners that have difficulties with written expression.
Okay.
So that's lightening their cognitive load, so they can go ahead and express their genius, like I said.
Without worrying about,
so that's a really big part of it. And then another one is text to speech. So students can have text read to them. So that's really important too.
If you don't observe by reading, okay, because I was telling you that I know, and you said you know people as well, I know people who went through the school system years ago when these assessments weren't happening and these resources weren't in place, were held back from grades, ended up carrying shame and guilt and feeling like they were stupid. And that's not the case at all. It just was, no one had figured out yet what they needed to learn.
Absolutely.
Right? Now now we're figuring this out much earlier on. I mean, there's assessments are done even pre-kindergarten. Am I right about that? Through certain agencies, maybe not through the school board, but it's like Welcome to Kindergarten, that kind of thing. Are there programs
there's certainly a lot more focus now on doing screening
is
of kids
the best
to identify is there any kind of gap or issue or concern that we need to be aware of? And the other piece that we always encourage parents, like if you're seeing that there's a learning issue or something happening with your child, then your first step is always talk to your classroom teacher, right? Because they're spending a lot of time with the teacher, and then the teacher can kind of get the ball rolling with, like, as soon as a concern is brought forth, we kind of say special education begins. So there's a process that, the teacher will look at putting interventions in place in the classroom. Special education resource teachers in all of our schools can help support those teachers. Yes. We have that available. And if warranted, and the board certainly looks at putting formal testing processes in place. So with a student with a learning disability, for instance, if they've done formal testing, it helps us isolate what the particular profile of the student is, which is really important, because we always kind of try and get across, if you've met one student with a learning disability, you've met one student with a learning disability, right? Because you could have 5 students with a learning disability, and they could all have 5 completely different profiles of what their strengths, needs are, and once you know those strengths and needs, then you can decide what you need to put in place to help them be successful.
The other piece here, Sarah, you mentioned to me that you wanted to bring up was the self-advocacy of the students. So not only should a parent go to a teacher if they're seeing any issues with the child learning, but the students themselves should feel empowered enough to say. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Speaking about carrying shame and all of that, we don't want that. We want our kids coming out of our system being really fully functioning, caring citizens, and happy and thriving in life.
And understanding that they have gifts.
Absolutely. So inherently, if you have this diagnosis, you're average to above average intelligence, and you have lots of special gifts to give in your life, and you're an out-of-the-box thinker. You just inherently are.
Yes.
So we need to let students know that they are average to above average intelligence.
Yes.
We need to help them explore their learning profile and help them explore their strategies and whatnot to help them be successful through school.
Oh, it makes me feel so good to hear all this stuff. It really is a celebration, isn't it? Then, I mean, the awareness that we now have, that you now have, that our school boards have, that our trained professionals have, and the additional resources. Like, you're still on the board of the LDAO, which again stands for the
Learning Disabilities Association of Ontario.
You're still on the board. You're the chairman of the board.
Yes, here in Sault Ste. Marie.
Good for you. That's another example of working with families. You said a lot of that is what you do as a resource, or what that organization does as a resource, is that they'll work with a family from their perspective, what they can do to support the child.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's really important to have that triangle of understanding again too. So the student is understanding, home is understanding, school is understanding that student's profile, so that there is consistent communication and acceptance in all 3 places.
I hope you're understanding at home too that what we're saying here is that there are resources available, that every child has the potential to learn and to grow in the school system as it is right now. No more segregating, none of that stuff like we used to do in the olden days. We've learned how to really celebrate the gifts that every child has. So congratulations, and thank you for being here. That's our time. Sarah, anytime you want to come back, Brent, you're more than welcome. If you want to talk about initiatives or events that are going on or anything we can do to support, let us know here at On TV, okay?
Fantastic.
Thanks so much.
All right, we'll be back with more with Luann and Tim right after this.
Here, your education is everything, supporting your true sense of purpose. Here, you'll learn from professors who will understand you, who will challenge you, and offer you support on your journey. Here, you'll study programs built on real values: business, technology, science, arts and social sciences, always geared to make a positive difference. Here, you'll have a chance to assist in faculty research, leaving your mark wherever you go. Here, you'll focus on what matters to you and impact the world around you. Algoma University. Come take a closer look.
Recently, the Government of Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades, including installation, are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
I hope that spider doesn't get recalled because it's wearing blackface. I heard some pumpkins did. Did you hear that story?
No. What?
Oh, yeah. I forget which company was selling them, but it was like Bed Bath & Beyond or like a big company. And they had black pumpkins. And someone said they were racist and they were blackface pumpkins.
Stop it.
I am not kidding you. And so they've been recalled.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Somebody else tweeted.
Relax.
Somebody else tweeted that I don't feel like I should have to say this, but just a reminder, but because Justin Trudeau was re-elected as Prime Minister doesn't mean that you can go out dressed up as him this Halloween as an excuse to wear blackface. Hey, lots of Halloween parties this weekend. It was a big party.
Tons.
I guess Ben Affleck went out too.
Oh boy, did he ever.
With his new girlfriend. He has a new girlfriend. He tweeted in the afternoon, Saturday afternoon, he put a tweet out saying, "Yes, you caught me, I'm dating. But let's talk about more important things. You know, after a year of sobriety, I'm donating to this cause, blah, 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 and join me." And then TMZ cameras caught him after he left a party that night. And he was staggering, and he'd been drinking, and he admitted it the next day that fell off the wagon with his new girlfriend. And where did he go on Sunday? Back to his ex-wife Jennifer Garner's house.
I'd be like this.
Well, I guess she's more of a friend than an ex.
Well, yeah.
There he is.
You
Yeah.
know.
So you
Like
can actually see him falling back. He actually
into
fell
the car.
backwards. There's 2 black SUVs back to back. He was posing doing a selfie with a woman behind that one that you see there. She walked away. He lost his balance. He staggered. He fell back. I think he thought that was his car. His car was the next car back, and then he sort of staggered to the next car.
It took him a minute to get there.
Anyway, Ben is just saying, you know what? This is relapse. Relapse is part of recovery. So he's got an amazing support system with
He sure
Jennifer
does.
Garner, I guess.
Holy cow.
Wish him well.
Absolutely. It's a hard journey. I can only imagine.
Oh, I watched a lot of movies yesterday. So
Yes.
I watched Psych. I watched the Hitchcock. I also watched I'd never seen the newest King Kong.
Oh, I haven't either.
Now this one starred who? Jack Black, Adrienne Brody, and Naomi Watts. She's a
Jack
lovely.
Black?
Okay, totally miscast. He was the worst thing in that movie, I think.
He's a comedian.
Yeah, and he played the promoter or the film director. And it was a 3-hour film, extremely long. They dedicated so much time to the journey to Skull Island on the boat and everything.
Oh.
And it basically was 3 hours of Jack Black doing this.
Really?
Yeah, looking very surprised. Now, the thing is, though, you don't realize how you're caught up in the movie until the very end when King Kong dies, and then I was crying.
He's not real, you know.
I know, I was telling myself that. But Naomi Watts, and they did such a great job with the face of that creature. I mean, really, the animatronics were really impressive. So Peter Jackson was the director. He's done all these big blockbusters.
Yes,
you know who else is doing another big blockbuster? Lerman. What's his name? Baz Luhrmann? Is that how you say it? Baz Luhrmann. Oh, come on. He did the, what's the one with Cher and the, Sharon, what's her name? Lady, the blonde, not Lady Gaga, Christina Aguilera. And he did that one, didn't he?
Don't know.
He certainly did the one with, the Australian who's married to she was married to Tom Cruise.
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, and it was a musical. With the guy that
was it ABBA music?
Can somebody help me, please?
No, nobody can help you.
It was the big, and I couldn't watch it because it was like a two-hour music video, and it was so fast. Moulin Rouge, for heaven's sakes! Baz Luhrmann did Moulin Rouge. God, I'm telling you, I'm never playing party games with you.
Holy, seriously, you're brutal at it.
So they're not going to shoot this movie until it's going to be released in October 2021. It's the Elvis biopic. It's a story. Yeah, some people I've never heard of. Austin Butler's playing Elvis, and an Australian actress named Olivia de Jong.
Is this the first one? I don't think I've ever heard of a biopic of Elvis being done, actually. Have you?
I think made for TV. Tom Hanks is playing Colonel Tom Parker, and this movie is actually focused on the veteran promoter Colonel Tom Hanks coming across this new young performer Elvis.
Colonel Tom Hanks.
Colonel Tom. Did I say that? Oh, sorry. Anyway, they're not going to start shooting until 2020 in Australia because Tom Hanks is so busy, and then it's released in October 2021. I wonder if that guy sings. I got a lot of questions.
I wonder if he's going to be the fat Elvis.
No, it's when he was young and first met Colonel Tom Hanks. Well, I knew I was saying that time. Okay, listen, you gotta go.
I gotta go because I have to do the news. So please stay tuned. Despite that, we'll be back right after this.
Recently, the Government of Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades, including installation, are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
Ontario's legislature resumed session today after the longest recess in nearly a quarter century. Politicians normally return for the fall session in early September, but the 5-month break meant the House didn't sit during the federal election campaign. Premier Doug Ford's Conservative government returns not only to the new session, but to a different political landscape than when Queen's Park was shuttered in June. Ford shuffled his cabinet last spring in what was a major reset for his government, which had been plagued by months of public backlash and negative headlines. The criticism was mostly due to funding cuts and a $30 million court battle against the federally mandated carbon tax, a fight, by the way, that the province says it intends to continue. The Tories are promising to strike a new tone this session, with House Leader Paul Calandra saying that the government wants to move away from the partisan squabbles and regular standing ovations that were a fixture in the legislature during its first year in power. Screams filled the air Friday evening as Siouxites came in droves to experience the haunted corn maze at Mockingbird Hill Farm. This year, the maze has been invaded by aliens as well as monsters with chainsaws ready to chase maze goers unexpectedly. On TV was there and spoke to Farmer Bob about this invasion.
Every year is a different theme. This year was picked for me. What happened was I woke up one morning and I found the alien flag put up in my front yard. I walked the field checking the corn crop, but I could feel some strange vibe out there, like something was behind me, like I was being watched. And then the day that we came to cut the design into the maze, we found that it was already there. It was an alien along with some cryptic crop circles. And there we went. That's what happened. It's not every night that you can have a close encounter. I like the energy that is created, and we provide some of the stimulus, but mostly the crowd brings their own stimulus. They're excited. They're happy. They make a lot of noise in there. They raise a lot of hell. It's good. It's a good night.
A Hamilton school board will vote on whether to create an anti-bullying panel following the stabbing of a 14-year-old student who was reportedly tormented by bullies in the weeks leading up to his death. Chair Alex Johnstone said the Hamilton Wentworth District School Board will decide on the recommendation after hearing public concerns about bullying and added that the board knows more can be done. Johnstone said the panel, which the board will vote on today, would seek feedback from the community and independent experts in a bid to improve prevention and response to bullying incidents. Johnstone said part of the panel's goal would be to improve their reporting process.
Since 1899, the Machine Shop has been a unique space for innovation and creativity. Once a leading pulp and paper company, the Machine Shop was built by Francis H. Clerg, which later became part of St. Mary's Paper in 1984. After the closure of St. Mary's Paper in 2011, the Machine Shop spent 4 years vacant. In 2015, the Machine Shop reopened their doors to the community for the first time. From weddings to galas to concerts and festivals, the one-of-a-kind venue has something for everyone. We are proud to work with the community and local nonprofits to host major events such as Festival of Trees, Pearls and Plaid, an evening at Hogwarts, and more. While you're here, wind down at the Mill Steakhouse and Wine Bar for a quiet dining experience, or watch a game and try a wood fire oven pizza and local draft at the Boiler Room. Don't forget to save room for house-made gelato and baked goods at the Gelato Mill. For more information on the Machine Shop events, history, and restaurants, visit machineshopinc.ca. 3 great places, 1 historic venue.
In your home, lighting is just as important as style.
With PowerView motorization from Hunter Douglas, you can schedule your shades to light up the room. Create privacy, or both, automatically. No hands required.
So your shades will always be in the right place at the right time in style. And it's only from Hunter Douglas.
Recently, the Government of Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades, including installation, are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
Here, your education is everything, supporting your true sense of purpose. Here, you'll learn from professors who will understand you, who will challenge you, and offer you support on your journey. Here, you'll You'll study programs built on real values: business, technology, science, arts and social sciences, always geared to make a positive difference. Here, you'll have a chance to assist in faculty research, leaving your mark wherever you go. Here, you'll focus on what matters to you and impact the world around you. Algoma University. Come take a closer look.
There seemed like there was a lot more cans in here.
Do you know where Judith is?
I haven't seen her, but I think we should just get this done and put these in the Lincoln.
Sure.
Okay.
Marcy, have you seen Judith? I know, actually, I haven't. Mike, have you seen Judith?
I think she went that way.
Thanks.
Josh, have you seen Judith?
I don't know where Judith is.
Do you need a hand with that?
No way.
Judith!
Huge thanks to Michael for doing all those great jobs on the photos that you get to see coming in and coming out of commercial breaks and interviews and stuff like that.
And to Audrey for decorating.
Yes, absolutely. Audrey just kicked it.
Yeah.
Elton John had to postpone one of his U.S. concerts.
He was sick.
No.
What happened?
His husband, David Furnish's mom, passed away.
Oh.
And Elton said that he is extremely ill.
David Furnish is extremely ill?
No, he is.
Elton's extremely ill.
Over it.
He's...
Yeah, and he tweeted, Mom, thank you so much for being who you are and teaching me everything that you have. I hope to impart some of that onto my beautiful children.
Oh, yeah, because we hear the story about his mother and Elton's mother, and they were estranged before she died, and she was not very nice.
No, she wasn't.
So maybe David's mother was more of a mother to Elton, and
so that was in Indianapolis, and it's going to be rescheduled for March. So if you bought a ticket, hold on.
Yeah,
he's coming.
He's coming back.
He's coming back. Chrissy Teigen and John Legend. Well, you know her. But she's not afraid to say no.
No, she says,
Yeah, she does.
Very, very
They were
blunt.
doing an interview together for Vanity Fair, and Mr. Trump came up. And
the subject, yeah.
If you recall, he tweeted at one point that John Legend was boring.
Yes.
And his filthy, foul-mouthed wife referred to her on Twitter as.
Yeah.
So in this interview for Vanity Fair, they're chatting away about Mr. Buh, and said he is the SH worst person, human being, Donald Trump. Worst ever. And he said that they both said that they like Elizabeth Warren, and they'll vote for her likely, or Chrissy also said that she might vote for Kamala Harris.
Oh.
Yeah, so they just, wanted you to know, as if you didn't already, that they don't like Mr. Trump.
Well, I like Chrissy Teigen.
I do too. She's hilarious. Does not care about what she says for nothing.
I got in trouble.
You did?
Keith sent me a message. He said that I should do my homework before I flail my arms around and make you play guessing games. The director of Burlesque is Steve Anton. This is me and Luann. The guy that was he directed the thing. And I don't know who that is. No, you know, the guy that directed the thing. Shut up, you're stupid. You don't even do your homework. Oh, but it's the guy, and he directed this Baz Luhrmann, and his name is Steve Anton. And we got to go to commercial. Tim, shut up, because you have a guest coming up right now. I know, but I want to talk about that. No, it's a guest, and her name is Edie Soriano, and it's the Bushplane Museum. Smarten up, Tim. We'll be right back after this.
This is On TV.
Welcome to the Machine Shop, our historic venue and gathering place for friends and family. Built in 1899 on the site of a Northwest Company trading post. Today we are a go-to venue hosting many expos, concerts, weddings, and more. While you're here, choose one of our dining experiences. Enjoy a quiet dinner at the Mill Steakhouse and Wine Bar, watch a game and try wood fire oven pizza and local draft at the Boiler Room, or treat yourself every day to gelato and local coffee at the Gelato Mill. For more information on the Machine Shop, visit machineshopinc.ca.
Here, your education is everything, supporting your true sense of purpose. Here, you'll learn from professors who will understand you, who will challenge you, and offer you support on your journey. Here, you'll study programs built on real values: business, technology, science, arts and social sciences, always geared to make a positive difference. Here, you'll have a chance to assist in faculty research, leaving your mark wherever you go. Here, you'll focus on what matters to you and impact the world around you. Algoma University. Come take a closer look.
Too funny.
Edie and I sitting here watching the guy in the electric chair, and we're laughing. Oh, that's funny. Hey, how did it go? You had a big Halloween party last Saturday night, eh?
We had a 70s video
70s, 80s, 90s.
in support of cancer. It was
a wig thing, right?
Oh, it was awesome. It was very well attended.
Yeah.
So many people came dressed in the 70s era. It was
saw the big, like the Master John platform.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty cool. The hair and the boas. And,
oh, they had a good time.
Oh, they had a great time. So, yeah, it was awesome. Good support from Sault Ste. Marie again. Eh?
As always,
yeah.
right, Edie?
Yeah, it's cool.
Talk about support. Your craft show that's coming up.
Yeah.
7th annual.
7 years.
Let's talk about how it's grown.
It has going from 7 years ago, we were one day for 10 to 4, and now we're 2 different weekends, 10 to 4 both days. It's just...
So is it 4 days now?
It's 4 days. It's this Saturday and Sunday, 2nd and 3rd, and then it's the 9th and 10th again, 10 to 4 both days. 100 different vendors each weekend.
Wait,
there's no repeats.
Wait a minute. So one weekend you got 100 vendors, and the next weekend there's 100 different vendors.
Different total vendors. Yeah. There's so many great artists, artisans, crafters, home sellers in Sault Ste. Marie, small business owners.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
They don't have storefronts.
They don't have storefronts, so we're their storefront.
You're their storefront for the next 2 weeks, starting this weekend.
This weekend, yeah, very cool.
Holy, is it a lot of? Do you have new people every year, Edie?
Yes, and we have a long list still trying to get in the show, unfortunately. And
what could you do? Could you go a 3rd weekend? Could have
that ain't gonna happen.
No.
No.
Just have to keep signing up early.
Well, you know what? And the vendors for each year, when they're done the show, they can sign up immediately, and then we know if we're going to have any openings or not.
Wow.
But the vendors all do so well, they don't want to leave. We're so well known of how many people we attract to the Bushplane.
Do you have any ideas how many come through the door?
Well, first weekend is about 3,500 in the 2 days.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, and the second weekend, this will be our first time that we went to the 2 days. But last year we were 1,900 for one day. So realistically, the second weekend should draw as many people in.
This is the first time you've gone 2 weekends.
Yes.
So you're trying this brand new.
Brand new. For the second day. We've always had the one.
Right.
But now we're to expand.
Well, you've always had 2 weekends.
Yes.
But you haven't had 2 days per weekend.
So
I get you. How does this work for the public? Is there an entry fee to get in or what?
It's just by donation, whatever they can afford, and it's in support of the Bushplane. That's how we're making our money.
No kidding.
And I'll tell you, in the past years, again, thank you, Sault Ste. Marie. They are so supportive of us because they know that's how we're raising our money.
Really?
But you know what? If you have 50 cents, thank you for your 50 cents.
If you got a toonie, you got a $5 bill.
If you got a $20,
to throw it in there.
That's awesome. You know it's going to a great cause, which is the Bushplane.
And it's the one and only.
And it's the one and only.
You are the only Bushplane Museum. In which region? Canada?
All over.
Like North America? In the whole wide world.
There's lots of Bushplanes at aviation museums.
But there's nothing dedicated strictly to...
Dedicated to the Bushplanes.
Lots of changes going on too, right?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Lots of renovations. You've moved, you're changing, and Tomika's eventually going to move in.
Yes, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we hope. They're a little behind, but they're coming.
You've done a beautiful job. I was surprised when I was there how nicely it transitioned from because I was nervous. I always liked the way you had the little food thing set up. The kitchen was set up there at the one end. It's nice at the other end.
It's awesome. It's been so well received, and the beautiful blue. It looks like sky back there, and
the doors still open up the same as the other way.
It's exactly the same. We've just flipped ends. A beautiful new kitchen. The caterers are loving it.
New kitchen. I actually find it a little. I like the fact that it's a little more private.
Yes.
That you're not just in the middle of the open and
right.
I really like the
everybody's
location.
Back there, and when we have a wedding or whatever, we just block it off so regular visitors are
still
going
see the
back
museum,
there. They
right.
see the whole museum and stop there at Wildfires Theater actually. So that's where it stops, and then the event area starts.
Right.
And we have brand new bathrooms at the back, so people don't have to walk all the way to the front lobby.
I didn't know that.
Yes, so that's been a nice bonus
in that area.
Too. Yes. So you don't have to trek all the way back. So that's cool.
Right on. So now let's go back to the 100 vendors. Are you going to have food there as well?
Yes. So that we do the concession. So we have M&M's, hamburgers. We have hot dogs. We have grilled cheese.
All available for purchase.
We have the White Pines Field Schools at the Bushplane. So they do all the baking for us, and that's part of their teaching them about baking, measuring, blah blah blah. So they do all the baking for us, which is
excellent.
It's a win-win for both of us.
Win-win because there's the baking, and then they get the money from the proceeds from the baking, right?
No, we still get the money, but
They're doing that for you?
They're doing it for us. We buy the ingredients, and then they're learning how to do it.
White Pine students.
Yeah, the field school. So it's pretty cool. And when they're not baking, they're helping me clean the museum. Again, it's a win-win.
Excellent.
Yes.
Hands-on.
Hands-on. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all us.
Yeah.
And then we have door prizes that each day has its own door prize. The first weekend, it's a lot of different things that are coming in from a lot of our vendors and whatnot. The second weekend, we have our bistro tree on the Saturday.
A what?
So a bistro tree. So it's gift certificates from restaurants all over the Sioux, Hong Kong, Rizzoli's, J. Caroline's new East Side Pizza.
Yeah, East Street Pizza.
Solo. So lots come in. And then on the Sunday is our big one, which is a staycation. Things to do in Sault Ste. Marie. That's important for Sault Ste. Marie that you just might not have, say, taken a flight with Sioux Aviation. So you could take a flight.
I haven't done that yet.
We do have the ACR train package that's into it now. So that's not staying in Sault Ste. Marie, but it is all about Sault Ste. Marie.
Right.
So there's just tons like that. It's worth $2,000. And say you don't want to do the flight, or you don't want to do the train, or you don't want to go have a family portrait done. Like there's tons of things to do in Sault Ste. Marie. Hey, there's some Christmas presents for you.
Oh, really? Absolutely,
Sure.
give away.
Whatever. Yeah. So it's just a great 2 days in support of local vendors.
What about if you're shopping with kids? Will there be?
Yeah, you can still access quite a few of the planes, but we see a lot of men come with their wives because they can still see the planes. You covered the planes.
So wait a second. This is by donation.
Yeah.
So you get to actually experience the Bushplane Museum for donation, not to pay.
And what better way to see this beautiful vendor and then see the beaver right there?
Right? Oh my goodness. Let's go over the dates again here.
Yeah.
So this Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. 10 to 4 both days.
That's November the
2nd and 3rd.
Beautiful, 10 to 4.
Yeah.
And then the following weekend, which will be the 9th
and 10th.
And 10th.
10 to 4.
Is that right? Yeah, 9th and 10th. Okay, at the Bushplane.
At the Bushplane.
Always something going on.
Yes.
You're a
It's
busy
great.
woman.
Oh, I am.
So much fun. So there you go. Get your Christmas shopping done. Support local artisans and local entrepreneurs, and support my friend Edie Suriano and the Bushplane Museum and all the great stuff they do in our community.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Tim.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you.
You look beautiful. Look, I like that she brings, look at it. Can you see that? That's a little, like a Werther's. It's Halloween trick or treat. We'll be right back with Luann after this.
Year we've been celebrating our 65th anniversary, dating back to services originating in our community in 1954, which is quite some time ago. It's been a great opportunity this past year to recognize the pioneers, the stakeholders that worked tirelessly to create what we are today. I'm grateful for everything that the families 65 years ago and the people that assembled the organization have done in order for us to achieve the success that we're experiencing 65 years later.
Welcome to the Machine Shop, our historic venue and gathering place for friends and family. Built in 1899 on the site of a Northwest Company trading post. Today we are a go-to venue hosting many expos, concerts, weddings, and more. While you're here, choose one of our dining experiences. Enjoy a quiet dinner at the Mill Steakhouse and Wine Bar, watch a game and try wood fire oven pizza and local draft at the Boiler Room, or treat yourself every day to gelato and local coffee at the Gelato Mill. For more information on the Machine Shop, visit machineshopinc.ca.
And just before we go today, we want to say a huge thank you to KC Security for sponsoring the show for us every morning.
And we'll be back tomorrow, live, Mornings with Luann and Tim, 8 o'clock, as you know. Tell your friends. We're doing, you know what? And now you can watch us Facebook Live and also StuOnline.com and onntv.ca. So keep finding us, keep spreading the word. And hello, Michelle.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, Michelle.